Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua Nather, and I am on a mission to understand how young people see the world. You are about to watch an interview between myself and someone else who is under 25 years old about their worldview. That is their identity, religion, and politics. As you watch this interview, please keep in mind that in 5, 10, 40 years from now, we are not going to be the same people as we are today. And if we are the same people as we are today, then we have done a bad job of listening and learning to the people around us. So without further ado, enjoy. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
This is Hadassa. We grew up semi around each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and she's super great, super charismatic, lovely person to spend time with.
We have a lot of the same friends. We grew up in kind of the same circles, but you moved around a lot. And
I
so
did.
you have it's kind of the same but different.
Yes. So go ahead. I just want to start with maybe 2 or 3 minutes of a little bit about yourself. So tell me a little bit about what growing up looked like, where you lived, school, family, however much you want to share.
Okay, so I grew up as the oldest of 7 children.
Mm-hmm.
My parents really loved the Lord and wanted to teach us that. And so
You're all good.
I've been homeschooled all the way through. Grew up in the church. Definitely grew up loving the Lord. So it was there was hard things associated with just always doing the things that we did. But I'd say it was a really good way to grow up.
Okay. Whenever you say hard things associated with growing up the way you did, what kind of hard things do you speak of?
Just we do this because it's what we do, and
not necessarily having a reason behind it. Is that what you'd say?
Well, I mean, it didn't seem like a reason to me, but it was definitely they were like, okay, we go to church every week. Oh, we take showers on Saturday night so that we can be ready and clean, and we don't go do other things on Saturday night so that we can be ready and can get a good night's rest so we're not falling asleep in church and
Okay, just
things like that.
Common sense things. Yeah,
right.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and jump into. Oh wait, well, what do you do for school/work right now?
I'm not in school. I don't like school.
Okay.
And I took a couple classes last year or something just to dip my toes into it, and I decided it was not for me.
Yeah.
So I do have a couple of community college classes under my belt, but that's not something that I'm interested in doing. So I have worked a lot of different jobs in the past few years. I have been a CNA.
Okay.
I worked in a nursing home. I have worked for the past 2 or 3 years, I don't remember, but it's taking care of an older couple that is in our community. And I was able to take care of the husband who had Alzheimer's all the way up until he died. So he was in his home, and I would go over, and I was there in the middle of the night. I was there every day, especially up to his death. So that's something that I had the privilege of doing. I've worked at Kansas Bible Camp for a long time, and was able to do that for a lot of this summer. And then coming up, I actually accepted kind of an internship position for just a few months at Camp Hope in Georgia. And so that's something that I'm actually going to be traveling on in just a couple days to go to. And that'll just be kind of I'm there to support the full-time staff, and so I'm really excited about that.
Sweet. I'm excited for you. So I'll just go ahead and jump right into the first question, which what are some key parts about your identity?
So first off, I think the way that you use the word identity is really interesting.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it, culture defines identity as this is what this is what I want to be associated with. And so partly I think identity is it comes from how you're raised in a part, and then it also comes from what you choose, and it comes more and more from what you choose as you get older.
Yeah.
And so like there's also these ideas of like I don't know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, oh, I've been faking it so much that I don't know who I am.
Would you say that's for you or for other people?
More for other people, I think. I feel like I've had a pretty easy time of deciding who I am.
Okay.
So things that I would say are my identity are like being the oldest of a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've made a part of my identity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something, it was something that I had to accept when I was younger, but now it's like, yeah, this is part of who I am, because it's easy to, it's also easy to connect with other people based on that identity.
Mm-hmm. So I assume there's more that you would choose to have as your identity.
Right.
So being an oldest sibling.
Yeah.
I would ask you I'm going to ask you as we go, okay, what makes that part of your identity, right? I think it's pretty self-explanatory in this instance, right? You were born first.
Right.
There was no adopted siblings that were older than you.
Nope.
You're the oldest.
I'm the oldest.
Yep. So, and you have 6 siblings, right?
Yep, 6 younger.
Okay, yeah. So, bona fide older sibling.
Yep.
So what are some other key parts of your identity?
I think the people that I choose to associate with, the chapel, that is a really big part of who I am. Like those people that I go and I meet with every week and twice a week, and it's I'm with those people. And so I think that that's a big identifier for me, especially as I go to other places. It's so who do you know that I would know? And so and be working at camp for so long, it's that's part of who I am. And it's really interesting because as I was contemplating the questions this morning, it's all this could change. I could have a completely different identity, or it could be a lot the same.
So what are some things you mentioned could change or something like that? What are parts of your identity that you would say are could change, or just because I know that a big part in our culture right now is gender or religion or political party, or I don't know which philosophical thought you fall into. So are you socialist or capitalist, or
So I intentionally do not make politics a big part of my identity. I feel that is something that is very controversial, and even though I have my opinions on which politician I feel does a better job of doing things the way that I would do it or the way that I would want to do it, I think that it just is it reflects on me better if I don't have something that I've made a part of my identity, I associate with this politician, because there's so many hurt feelings that can be, and it's just okay, I want to be all things to all men, and it's not that I don't have an opinion, it's just that I don't make it a part of my identity.
So it sounds to me it's not part of your identity because your religion or belief in Christianity outweighs that.
Right. So Jesus is the biggest part of my identity. I think that knowing the Lord has shaped the most of who I am, because there's a lot of decisions that I've made, a lot of things that I've chosen to pursue because I believe in Jesus, and because just all of the decisions that I make on an everyday basis of how I'm going to treat people, how I'm going to be going about this situation, this interaction, makes a difference in how I ultimately end up in work and in relationships that I am, that sort of thing.
So you mentioned the people you're around as being part of your identity. And maybe is that because of the stuff that they influence you with, or help me understand that a little bit more.
So, can you rephrase that?
So you mentioned whenever I asked about your identity that a big part of your identity was like the chapel and people you're around.
Yeah.
So I am curious why you mentioned that, because like I've heard other people that I've interviewed talk about the stuff that feeds into them is what creates their identity. So what are some things that you feel like are fed into you by the people around you that you've kind of taken on? I don't know, and I don't know that that's necessarily what you were saying, but that's why I was seeking clarification,
right,
so that I could ask the question about what kind of stuff is being, are you absorbing into your identity because of the people you're around? Does that make sense?
Right. So I think for the chapel specifically, it's a lot of people who are like-minded, who want to encourage me towards the Lord. And like, even if I don't have a conversation with different people, like, Betty, even if I don't talk to her every week, but on Wednesday I was leaving, and and so she just came up and she gave me a hug and she was like, hey, I'm praying for you. And like, I've been praying for you and I didn't really know what was going on. Can you explain that to me? But I'm still praying for you. And so, it's been a really big encouragement to be around those people, even though I'm leaving, because I know that they care about me and I know that they love me and I know that they're wanting to spur me on to love and good deeds. And so, like, even if I don't have a conversation with all of them every time, I know that it's a safe spot that I can go to one of them and be like, hey, here's something that's going on in my life. Like, and so, of course, like, there's every week, there's sermons and there's Sunday school and stuff. And so, like, we get together and we talk about the gospel and we talk about who the Lord is, and that is a part of growth and of knowing the Lord better. And like, in the gospel primer, it talks about rehearsing the gospel so that we can grow. And I don't remember the verse that goes along with that, but it's a pretty big deal to be getting together with people.
So is it fair to say that whenever you mentioned being around people, you like being around people that affirm the things that you want to be part of your identity, like
right,
being a Christian?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that leads me to the next question, which why are those things important to you? Like being an older sibling and being a Christian. What makes those things important to you?
Being an oldest sibling, it's a role that I feel like I definitely didn't have a choice in it.
Yeah.
But it's something that I've definitely grown into, of like, okay, it's my job to pour into my siblings, into being responsible for them, like especially when I was younger and they were really young.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm the one that is supposed to be helping take care of. Obviously, I'm not the primary giver, but caregiver. But it's like, okay, mom is going off and doing something, so that's the oldest sibling. But go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I didn't want to like minimize the like that it wasn't your choice, because it's obviously something that you tackled.
Right.
Like, as like you're like, I am the oldest sibling. Like, that's something like, everybody else that I've talked, just for example, and as I've released these, like, I think people will be able to go. I'll probably like send them one and be like, hey, watch this interview to kind of figure out what it's gonna look like.
Right.
But nobody else is like, even the oldest siblings, not even like mentioned. Like, they don't have that as part of like the.
Okay.
Yeah. So like you're like, I am the oldest sibling.
Yeah.
Right? Like, some of them will say like, oh, I identify as a sister or a brother. So I think it's I do think it's not insignificant.
Okay.
That you mentioned.
Yes.
Like, that is something that you took on. It wasn't like this no choice being older. That was part of why I asked the question. Yeah. Just in case you were kind of like, I think I went over that, but it was because it seems like it was something that was important to you.
It is important to me. My dad has always just really encouraged me to be a leader to other people, and that started with my siblings, of like taking care of them, and I really enjoy taking care of people, and I want to just like I'll do your laundry. I'll make you lunch. Like that kind of thing. And that started with just like with my siblings and doing that.
So then I guess I'll kind of want to know a little bit more about why you believe in Christianity. So what makes you a Christian? What makes you believe it?
So I grew up with parents who really thought that knowing the Lord was important. And so it was definitely something that I grew up in, having the knowledge of, but I didn't have a ton of experience with it. I know that my parents were very careful to show me different things. Like, we didn't have a lot of money, especially when I was really young. And even as I got older, our business, our masonry business went down, and my dad bought the tree care business. And so we didn't really have any money then until several years later, until we got it going and it picked up a little bit. But there was things that we needed, like my dad needed a new pair of shoes because his old ones were falling apart, or we didn't have money for groceries that day. And so it was like, okay, Lord, provide for us in this way. And like my mom would get us together, we would pray together, and then the Lord would provide. And now, like, seeing that's not how the world functions. Like, you just need something and then it's there. And so seeing that evidence of, okay, we asked the Lord and he provided in this way, I think really made my faith strong as a young child.
So you think a lot of it has to do with like your parents' faith and stuff that you felt like came, that was given to you by God, or that your family
in the beginning it was. Okay. It was like, okay, so I know this is true because it's been like I've seen it be true, but I didn't have like personal experience with it.
So you said in the beginning. So what would be why you are a Christian now? Like,
so when I was younger, my dad like explained the gospel, like Jesus died for you, and he wants a relationship with you, and you need to believe in him to be saved. And so so my dad was like, this is really important. And so me as a 4-year-old was like, well, yeah, it's important. I'll believe in Jesus, sure. So he kind of like pushed me towards it, and then I accepted Jesus, and so I believe like that's when I got saved. But I didn't really act like it was true in my life. Like things didn't really change in the way that I did things. It didn't really affect how I lived. And so then when I was 11 or 12, middle school, it did affect the way I lived in a little bit, in a few ways, because it made me realize that it was really, really important to do that. And it made me want to tell other people about Jesus, even though like I didn't have experience with like him giving me peace or anything. And so I was talking to neighbors, and I was like, hey, you should believe in Jesus. And so that was something that was really important to me when I was like 11. And so I remember like just rehearsing, like, okay, Jesus died for me, like Jesus died for you, he wants a relationship with you. Like all of these like points of the gospel of like, you're a sinner, you need a savior. Like we can't obtain righteousness on our own. And like just thinking through like what are the things that Jesus has done that would make it so that somebody would want to follow Jesus. And so like I was in the car, I was on the way to church one Sunday morning, and the Lord just like showed himself to me like in the car at church, like, look at all these things that I've done and you haven't been following me. So
I just want to ask you what just so there's no like showed himself to you, like right like just like this like feeling like he was just there, or like oh, you saw Jesus?
No, not at all. Okay. It was just like this understanding that that just like it clicked. Like, whoa, this is who Jesus is. And I'm not following him. Like, I'm not living in a way that would make it so that people would know that I follow him. And like, it just wasn't, he wasn't important to me besides like just the things that I'm supposed to do. And so then it was like, oh, he should be important to me. And so then I like, just right there, I was like, okay, am I not saved? Like, and then I was like, okay, Lord, I want to follow you. Like, it was just this moment where I'm like, no, I want to follow Jesus because of these things that I've seen him be.
Okay. So is there, like the next question I was going to ask is like, well, is there anything else that you feel like you've, any other religion or philosophical, like spiritual or philosophical idea that is a not Christianity?
Yeah.
That you've ever like, and the thing is that you don't have to encounter it to like, you know, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I've thought about it all the way, and you know, it's okay to believe what's true without first knowing what's false.
Right.
You know, and that can, like, that's one of the things is like I'm gonna be interviewing Muslims and Jews, and
for sure.
So they will probably have similar thoughts as like similar experiences where it's just like, oh, I grew up in it, and I felt that it was true, and I acted on that, and I believe it now. So is there anything that stands out to you that makes you believe Christianity more than those, other than just growing up in it?
I think that's a really interesting question, because I think there's Mormons and like, you know, other religions that would say, oh yeah, I've had encounters with Jesus, but they definitely don't believe quite the same way that I do. I don't really know. I think that the hope that I have is quite a bit different from most other religions. Most other religions don't have this like, oh, I'm so hopeful, and like just I think there's I've definitely like in my own head like thought about pursuing other things and like what impact would that have. And like I know that like when I've pursued my own way, when I've like went the way that I felt like, oh yeah, this is a good way, it just didn't really turn out for me. And so I don't know that I have like really pursued another religion, but I can't say that that it's been like, oh yeah, I pursued all these other things and I know that this one is the best one. All I know is like this has been really good for me. And I wouldn't want another thing.
Because of how good it's been for you. Okay, cool. What are things that you care about because of what you believe?
Like,
you're a Christian. What does it make you care about?
It makes me care about people.
People? Okay.
Yeah, because one of the things that I feel like I struggle with is I want what I want, and I want to do what I want to do. And so, and that doesn't leave any room for caring about what other people want or what they think or how they feel or what I can do for them. And so then, but if I believe in Jesus, then Jesus says that we need to be servants and we need to love other people. And we, and you know, we're, as a Christian, as somebody who believes in Jesus, I'm being transformed into his likeness. And he was a servant. He became a servant. There's the Philippians 2, being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death. And so it's like, this like, oh, I really have to
Yeah, be obedient.
Be obedient. And,
yeah, to the point of being put to death for your friends.
Be humble and so it's like, okay, well, what can I do for other people now? And how can I
Well, it sounds like you're on a really good start with taking care of an elderly couple, and that's not easy. Like,
no, it really is not.
Yeah, but that's
it's really not.
That's an act of love. So I think I don't know. I think that speaks volumes already. Other than people, or how does what does that look like in your day-to-day life now? Like, what are you doing or trying to do or know that you should do to help the people around you? I know you talked a little bit about it, but what do you imagine your day-to-day life looks like compared to somebody who wouldn't believe in Jesus or act like Jesus?
I think it means, like, in my situation right now, honoring my parents and in what they think and in what they feel like I should be doing. There's a lot of people, like even Christians, who have said to me, like, oh, you're an adult now. You shouldn't have to do what they want
parents,
you to.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay.
And so that, I mean, it's not a struggle. It's something, I mean, it's not easy. It's something that I do struggle with on a daily basis of, like, do I just do what I want or do I honor what they want? Just getting along with my siblings and getting along with the people around me.
Yeah, that's relatable.
Yeah, just the interactions heavily decided by whether I've had time in the Word that morning or not.
Yeah. So, I know you said you're very, very specifically apolitical, but how does your identity and religious beliefs affect your politics? Are there any politics that they affect?
So, it also is helped by the fact that I just don't look at the news that much.
Yeah.
It's just I'm busy, and it's one more thing to think about, one more thing to. But
so it's okay to not care about politics. One of the things that.
But.
Yeah.
But something that I do care about is like not so much the liberal, like how people are treated, like, oh, we need to do this, but it's just like the daily interactions of, like, okay, I need to not be changing the world by changing what people think and how they believe. Like, just because you believe that Joe Biden is going to save America instead of Trump is going to save, like, it doesn't matter if I try and change that viewpoint, because having that one person's viewpoint change, like, maybe it makes me feel good and maybe I won, but that's not going to be world changing. But something that is going to be world changing is if I tell that person about Jesus, and then Jesus tells them the truth about whatever it is. Like, you think that Trump is going to save you, save America? Okay, debatable. Like, there's some things that I agree with Trump and some things I don't.
Yeah.
But the people that are just so, like, make America great again, it doesn't make me angry, but it doesn't make me happy either.
Yeah.
But the people who are like, let's go talk about Jesus. Like, let's go do let's love people like he does. I'm like, yeah, let's go do that. And so that's kind of more my viewpoint is, let's share the gospel. Let's introduce them to Jesus. Let's change hearts instead of opinions. So I do vote. Okay. It's not like I'm not out of the political world, and I try and be informed about things.
Yeah.
And I try and do research on, like, okay, are vaccines good? Should I be taking it? Like, different things like that, because I want my body to be healthy and I want to make good decisions. But yeah.
Cool. What are there things politically, because that you want to change, or you make an effort, whether it's the way you vote or groups or, I don't know, social media pages you follow, that like you want to change? I know everybody has something that they want to change, but is there something that you care about that's like, I would have this differently if it was my way?
One thing that I really care about is abortion. I really am saddened by the way that people do not want these lives. And I don't know that making it illegal is the answer. Like the air quotes, the answer.
Yeah.
Because like people are gonna be just as sinful in their hearts, or even if they want, maybe that's one more kid, but like then that's another kid for the foster care system, and that kid is really, really broken at the end of it all. And so I would really love to see people like moving away from the abortion and moving away from the like, this is my body, I'm gonna do what I want with it. Especially since that's in direct opposition with what I believe. Like if I'm following Jesus, then I'm not my own.
Yeah.
I think that just human life is so valuable. And so it's just all of these things that are associated with human life. Like, you know, I don't really know what to call it, but like the assisted death, where they give people who want to die a whole bunch of medications that they die.
Yeah.
And I just don't really know how I feel about that, because it's life is so important to me. And there's another, like, you know, pulling the plug on somebody. There's so many things that are just really like, oh, that's crazy. Like, what do I decide about that? But I think that life is important to Jesus. And so I think that he is the one that is going to give us life. And so all these people who don't want life, changed by him, and then their opinions and their viewpoints will change.
So is there anything else that's, doesn't have to be politics based, that's like important to you for, that you wished other people cared about? I know you mentioned life, but just like other things that you're like, man, I wish people cared about this more, or it's something I really care about and am passionate about. I know I'm just opening up the door for you to talk about what you want, in case there's anything else you want to talk about.
I don't know. I think there's just a lot of lies in today's culture, which there always has been. Like, you know, it's always in every culture. It's just a different set of lies. And like, you know, as culture changes, new lies. And so like, all of these things that people believe that aren't true. And I really struggle with believing lies about myself and about my worth and about how, you know, what I'm supposed to be believing and stuff. And so, but that is common to man. Like, you know, there's always people that are saying like, oh, you know, this is the worst it's ever been. Jesus is coming back next year. But my mom she's like, you know, it's always this bad. Like, it's it's not always the same kind of bad. It's just a different kind of bad than you're used to. And so it feels big and it feels scary. And it's because it is big and scary. Because once that one is moved on and like you find the truth for it, and it's like, oh, okay, this is what's true. Then it's a new set and it's a new generation. And so, I don't know.
People being careful of lies.
Yeah, I think that it's just really easy to not know what is true and to believe things that aren't true.
Okay. Is that something you feel like you've had to watch out yourself for?
Yeah. And part of it for me has a lot to do with spiritual warfare. Just I'm fighting against these things that it's like, okay, this is crazy.
Yeah. So, just this is kind conclusion here,
Mm-hmm.
is there something that you, and I know you just said lies, although it's a slightly different question, and you can just say the same thing. But
Go for it.
What is, well, what would you say adds meaning to your life? Why does your life matter? You said you really cared about life.
Yeah.
I was going to ask something else, but I figured this was a better question.
Okay.
Because you talked about how much you cared about life.
Yeah. What adds meaning to my life?
Or to life in general. But
yeah.
I want to know first about your life and then second about everybody.
I think the thing that makes me want to be here is like all of the good things that I have seen the Lord give me and the things that I'm looking forward to. Like I oh man, I love eating food. It's just so good.
Food is the purpose of life. It adds so much meaning to my life.
and like getting to enjoy relationships and getting to enjoy people and just enjoyment is something that really is meaningful to people. And it's really meaningful to me. Like if I don't enjoy something, I'm like, I'm out of here, man.
Yeah.
I did not have a good time at this wedding reception. Man, I just want to leave. Like
yeah.
I think enjoyment is a big part of it, but I don't remember where I was going with that.
Okay. Enjoying life.
Yeah.
Food. The things the Lord has given you.
But like I feel like food is something that the Lord has given me. Relationships are something that the Lord has given me. Like these things that I enjoy. Like every good thing given and every perfect gift is from above.
So
coming down from the
that's
Father
a really good answer for your personal life.
Yeah.
Although the much more difficult question now. The fetus in the womb doesn't have relationships to enjoy, and food to enjoy, and weddings I guess you don't enjoy, but
mostly I do enjoy weddings actually.
Okay. I know. But what makes their life valuable?
That they're created. That because humans specifically are created in the image of God. So I feel like there's two kinds of value. There's the value of a gold ring that no matter pretty much anywhere in the world, that's going to be worth something because it's gold. That's inherent value. Like it's just what it is. And it doesn't matter whether it's like dirty. It doesn't matter whether it's all these things. It's inherent value. And then there's acquired value. There's a stuffed teddy bear that this child loves, and it is dilapidated, and it is not worth anything to anybody, but it is worthwhile for that child to drag around everywhere because it loves it. And so that's acquired value. Like this is important to me because of something.
So is the point then that we have acquired value because we were created by God? Like we have acquired value to God?
Okay, I'm getting there.
Okay. I won't interrupt you anymore.
And so we have both of those. We have inherent value because we are created in the image of God. And we have acquired value because, we broke our relationship with God and we didn't. And so we were separated from him. We weren't able to obtain his righteousness and his holiness. But Jesus died for us. And so his blood, I would say, is our acquired value. And so we have both. Okay. Most things don't have both.
Yeah. That's a really good way to put it. I like the way you said that. I like those thoughts a lot. So, last thing. This is conclusion, actually.
Go for
it. What's something you would tell people to ask themselves or to think about leaving this interview?
I am not sure of my audience. And so I'm not sure if you do Like, if you have a relationship with Jesus, I think one thing that I would ask is, like, do you enjoy Jesus? Like,
okay.
do you, are you seeking him? Are you, like, is there that relationship where you're actually, like, really knowing him better and, like, getting something out of it and not just going through the motions? And then to an unbeliever, I think I would say, like, just an exhortation, like, find out what this is about. Like, to me, this is so much of my life, and I can't really, like, sit down with this person who's watching this interview right now and be like, here, you should, let me tell you, let me answer your questions, let me tell you about who Jesus is. But to me, Jesus has been so much, and I just really want that for other people.
Well, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me, by the way. Or if you're able to find Hadassa, I'm sure she would love to answer your questions.
I would love to answer your questions.
So, actually, speaking of which, would you like me to put, like, your social media in the description?
I don't have Instagram.
Well, you have Facebook.
I do have Facebook. Yeah. Sure. Reach out to me on Facebook. That would be awesome. Let's see. Could put my email down there.
Okay. I won't put your email. There'll be too much spam. Gmail or email's not as good as at blocking that stuff.
Right. Yeah. It's true. I don't want to put my number.
Yeah. No, don't do that. Don't do that. So anyways, thank you for your time. I really appreciated talking to you. Keep on seeking the truth. Keep on listening to other people. Keep on caring about other people, because the consensus is that's what everybody cares about. So, thank you, Hadassa.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Josh.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah.
Bye. Here we are at the end of the video. Since you're here, you might as well consider liking and subscribing. Always remember to keep on seeking to understand and love the people around you. I'll see you next Saturday, guys. Bye.